You know guys, I'm a college graduate. Why should I bother talking about school anymore? I mean, I spent my $20,000 to $30,000 in tuition and did my time. I got my expensive piece of paper at the end of the day, only to just become a YouTuber immediately afterwards. By the way, please like this video and subscribe to Zeepster. We're making our way almost to 100k subscribers. It's pretty epic. But you know, since it is fall time and everybody's already back to school, I can't help but think about something else that also coincides with the autumn. You know how it would be like the end of September or maybe early October and you get those catalogs like hyping up the book fair? It's like, oh holy shit, the new Diary of a Wimpy Kid book just came out. Oh my god, I can't wait to buy the shitty paperback version of the book. Hey, you know, when I was a kid it didn't matter. But I gotta be honest, I couldn't help but feel a little self-conscious and poor whenever a friend of mine would show off their hard copy of Roderick Rules. To be fair, it didn't really matter in the end, because when I would purchase books such as Captain Underpants, I would end up just usually tearing the book apart because of things in the book like Flip-O-Rama. And for those who don't remember what Flip-O-Rama is, basically you would flip between two pages of the book and it would make like this sort of like animation. It was pretty cool. However, my elementary school self wanted to test the limits of this and do this as fast as possible, usually leading to the book just being torn apart. Then I'd go complain about it to my dad, and then he would just take a piece of tape and just tape the page back together. It was pretty epic. Now, the book fair didn't introduce me to Captain Underpants, because I already knew about it beforehand. I would check out the books at the library. But the book fair did introduce me to one series in particular, the Bone comic series. I remember being in first grade, walking into the book fair, seeing the cover of Phone Bone holding a map, only for these eyes to be staring right at him, and just thinking to myself, ooh, what's this about? The first few books of the series are very lighthearted. Once the Bone cousins are run out of their hometown, they enter into a world of fantasy, in which they are indeed fish out of water. While growing up, my favorite Bone would be Smiley Bone, as he reminded me of Goofy and I always thought he was funny. And maybe that was on purpose because all the Bone cousins were loosely inspired by the mode of Disney cartoons and old Warner Brother cartoons. Now, I read the first 4 books. My favorite one was The Great Cow Race. I found it hilarious whenever Phone Bone would get caught into trouble, dealing with some traumatizing event, while Smiley Bone was just going with the flow of it all. Okay, so although the Scholastic Book Fair had a bunch of books there, the thing about the Scholastic Book Fair that I'd like to mention, and I don't know if this was just a California thing, maybe it happened in other states, I have no idea, but I remember when you would buy books, they would charge 10 cents every dollar for tax, with all books being around $1 value. So for example, if you bought a book that was 10 bucks, that would be about $1 in taxes. Insane to me. That's 10%. That's higher than California's tax rate. What the hell? These evil, evil Scholastic bastards. I was also preoccupied about the extra bonus stuff they would sell. Like, dude, I remember they would sell like giant erasers and also giant pencils. Like, holy shit, I could do my math homework with this. I specifically remember them having twisted erasers, which came in various assorted patterns. And my fat 8-year-old self thought this looked delicious and wanted to take a bite of one. But don't worry, I never did. It never resorted to being that bad. One thing I would like to mention is that the Scholastic Book Fair would release sneak previews on their website detailing what the next book fair would have. I mean, this one from 2011 is a little rough, but there's some type of charm to it. Wait, did they just use the Minecraft Steve sound effect? I didn't add this in editing, like, this is just real. They still do these sneak previews, and out of curiosity, I checked out the 2022 book fair one, and oh my god, the editing, like, it's skyrocketed in quality. I mean, just take a look at this. They try to make it as badass as possible. The Scholastic Book Fair doesn't fuck around, oh my god. Here's the thing about the Scholastic Book Fair. You could also have the ability to purchase games from the fair, which was insane to me. You could get like a tycoon game. And essentially the tycoon games are about making your own theme park or zoo, and that factor of creativity was just awe-inspiring to me as a kid. I remember my brother playing this and just making a coaster that would just kill people. Yeah, it was pretty crazy to act like God for a change. Sometimes you would order stuff from the book fair and some things wouldn't come in for a couple weeks, sometimes even months. I've even heard cases in which someone ordered something in the 4th grade and it didn't come until their sophomore year of high school. Yeah, the book fair wasn't exactly a perfect system whatsoever. So when I talk about the book fair, I cannot forget the holy grail of it all, the Guinness Book of World Records. Listen, we all knew it was coming to this. They'd be super expensive to ever buy, but it was so fun just looking through it at the book fair with all your friends around. It was something to do with the presentation of the Guinness World Record books that had a lot of character to it. Here's a big flex. After begging my parents for like 20 bucks, I was able to buy the Guinness World Records Gamers Edition. 2009. So to promote this book, Guinness has actually released like a hype trailer for it, and there's a bunch of reviews attached to it, and it's so good. With one of the quotes stating, "No gamer should be without it. It is the gamer's Bible." With another quote stating, "If you're a serious gamer, pick up this book. It's really cool." How descriptive. You just gotta check out this ad. It's so cool. Also, let me just state this. The covers for Guinness books were like eye candy to kids. I mean, look at this. Guinness World Records 2010, the book of the decade. You may be looking at it just like, what am I supposed to be seeing here? But you see that swirl in the background? Now that's what it was all about. Then we have the Guinness World Records for 2009, which advertised like 3D glasses alongside with it. Yeah, this was during the big 3D craze of the late 2000s. TVs would have this, books would have it, so I'm actually not super surprised that Guinness out of anything got it. Something that really impressed me while going to the book fair as a kid was looking at the Magic Treehouse. And not just your short Magic Treehouse books, I'm talking about the long ones. Yes, the book series progressed. I remember it just becoming full-length novels, which wasn't really bad per se, but it didn't really meet my patience as an 8-year-old. Listen, reading for me would be fun, but it wasn't fun when I was forced to do it. I don't know if you guys had the same thing, but we had this thing called accelerated reading, in which we had to read a certain amount of books, and take a quiz based off of that book, and meet a certain threshold of points for a grade at school. I remember often kids would just get like lower level books, just to get it over with. They'd quickly glance over like a book meant for 4-year-olds, and just hash out the quiz online. Other times I would see kids just quickly glance over a book, and just start guessing when it came to a question they didn't understand. Interestingly enough, the Holy Bible counted as points. There'd be segments of the Holy Bible worth about 100 points, and I mean, yeah, it's worth that amount because it's pretty impressive if you're like 8, being able to read through the Holy Bible. Things like the book fair made me want to read more when I was a kid. It took a while for my school to obtain newer books into the library section, so when it came to the book fair, being able to buy what was recently popular was pretty cool. Especially when it came to one book in particular, video game cheat codes. Even if I didn't have most of these games, I'd still go through this booklet, as it made my imagination go wild. It was like, oh shit, look what you can do in Animal Crossing for the GameCube. It didn't matter if I had the game or not. All that mattered was my enjoyment of the book, just by reading it. And that enjoyment went a long way for kids who had the privilege of going to the book fair.
The book fair is here, but only for 1 week.
It's about this bone that gets chased by monsters, I guess. Background.
I like reading Andrew Clement's. I'm looking for anything that I can write in that has monkeys.
This might not make any sense, but maybe you'll understand. I think I remember reading a tweet similar to this a couple years back, but like, yeah, there was like a certain thing in the air when you would wake up and you knew the book fair was going to be that day. I mean, sure, you could get a book at any point in the library for free anytime you wanted, but something was like really special about buying the book. Something about begging your parents for $10 to $20 to take over to the book fair that day. And then later, after the event, comparing with your friends about what you got. It was at the book fair where I discovered breakthrough books like Bone, or even the likes of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The enthusiasm behind it made me so excited to read. It's that type of enthusiasm that I haven't felt in a long time when it comes to reading. Perhaps it was the ability of choice, being able to pick whatever book you wanted, taking it home and building a connection with it that really fueled this unique feeling. And if I'm being honest, although I miss it, I never want to repeat that feeling again, because that's what made the book fair so very special.